Hello everyone. Today, we'll be seeing how fast Tauros can beat Pokemon Red in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. This week in Pokemon Red version, we'll be doing two normal type Pokemon that are only ever found in the Safari Zone, Tauros and Kangaskhan. We'll be starting with Tauros today and then Kangaskhan later in the week. I think both of these Pokemon are going to be pretty good, except for the Brock split. But first, let's take a look at the stats. We have 75 HP, 100 attack, 95 defense, 70 special, and 110 speed, but we are in the slow experience group, so training in the early game isn't going to be that good, especially when we take a look at the moveset. We only start with one move, Tackle, and then at level 21 we get Stomp, followed by Tail Whip, Leer, which do the same thing, Rage, and then Takedown. So yeah, our moveset is not that good by level up, but we do get some good TMs. For example, we get the best normal type move in the game, Body Slam, and then we also get some special moves. We get Ice Beam, Blizzard, Thunderbolt, Thunder, and Fire Blast. And also another good physical move is Earthquake. We don't get Dig unfortunately, but I'm sure we'll find some uses for Earthquake once we obtain it in Sylph. So yeah, you guys remember when I said that the Brock split may not be too good? It's because we're going to have to defeat Brock using only Tackle. So training in the early game, especially with the slow level up group, is not going to be that good. But there is one thing we could do. We could get all the way until Pewter City, and we could do Blackout training on the Light Years Junior Trainer, but the disadvantage of only starting with Tackle is that we don't have a way to stall on the Sandshrew without delivering damage to it, so that way we can stall on it and have the Sandshrew knock us out so we can do Blackout training, because since our only move is Tackle, we just have to spam it and hope for the best. But unfortunately, he is able to make us win on the first try, so we're not going to be able to rely on Blackout training for it. So what this means is, since I already defeated all the bug catchers, I have to just train in Viridian Forest in the wild. The Metapod and Kakuna here give decent XP, but the problem with grinding here in Pokemon Red version is that the encounter rate in the forest is pretty low. You don't really get encounters that often, but it doesn't matter though. I grind up to level 13, so now we can go take on the first gym leader, Brock. I am only level 13 for this fight, but I actually do plan to Blackout train here if necessary. So the main plan is just to spam Tackle, and if I win, I win. If I lose, I just go back and try again. And I'm sure this doesn't surprise any of you, but I do end up losing the first attempt on Brock on his Onix. So good news is we are able to defeat the Geodude consistently, which is going to be very helpful for Blackout training. Although something that's very annoying is that the Geodude has Defense Curl in Red and Blue. He does not have Defense Curl in Yellow version. So because of that fact, our tackles will start doing less damage, but fortunately, our speed stat gives us a pretty decent crit chance, around 20%. So at least we can get crits somewhat frequently. It takes me until around 22 minutes into the run. At level 15, I am finally able to defeat his Onix after a ton of Blackout training, and now I have obtained my first gym badge. Here's the thing though, with Brock defeated, I'm quite confident that the rest of the game will go quite nicely. I defeat the trainers on Route 3 leading to Mount Moon, catch myself a Spearow for Fly, so now I want to mention something interesting. On this route you can catch either Pidgey or Spearow for a Fly user. If you catch Spearow and you cannot find a Paris in Mount Moon, what you could do is catch a Geodude, and then you can trade the Spearow for a Farfetch'd, and Farfetch'd can learn both Cut and Fly. So honestly, I might just focus on catching a Geodude in Mount Moon so I don't have to worry about Paris. Which is exactly what I do. I end up finding a Paris here and I run away from it, and then I just catch a Geodude instead. So I will be getting a Farfetch'd for my Cut and Fly user. Fun fact, it's the only Pokemon in Gen 1 besides Mew that can learn both Cut and Fly at the same time. Pretty convenient though. I defeat the Super Nerd at the end, take the Helix Fossil, and now, in Cerulean City, we have to ask ourselves the age-old question, do I fight Misty or Rival 2 first? There's really no point in doing Misty first, we can't even learn Bubble Beam, so I go ahead and take on Rival 2 first. I am level 21 for this fight, so I now have the move Stomp. This move in the early game is going to be extremely powerful. It's a 65 power move, and with the same type attack bonus, it's going to have an effective power of around 97. So yeah, it's going to be incredibly awesome. Plus, it's got a decent amount of PP, and we still have Tackle as a backup. I finish up the rest of the Nugget Bridge, and then we can go take on the second gym leader, Misty. She leads off with her Staryu. I'm level 23, and then after the Staryu I get to level 24, and then once I'm at level 24, her Starmie will be a 2-shot with Stomp. So yeah, easy second gym badge. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned at the start of the video, Tauros does not learn Dig, so when I get the TM for it, I'll have to save it for the Geodude. And now we can head on down to Vermilion City, and then enter the SS Anne. We are going to be getting one of Tauros's best moves. In this room right here, we can defeat this youngster with a Nidoran, and then we can get the TM for Body Slam. This is an 85 power move, and with the same type attack bonus, it's going to be an effective power of 127. So yeah, that's going to be insanely powerful. And then with Body Slam, we can completely destroy the rival here, and we can also go take on Surge with this powerful move in hand. Or I guess in Hoove. He leads off with his Voltorb. I use Body Slam, which gets the one-shot thanks to a crit. I don't even think the crit mattered. I one-shot the Pikachu. Then on the Raichu, it lives in red health. Thunderbolt does pretty decent damage, but there's not much Surge can do as a second Body Slam takes him out. And now defeating Surge gives us the TM for Thunderbolt, which we can learn. And as we go through the Route 9 Rock Tunnel Gauntlet, I do have Thunderbolt on my moveset. It will fill some niche uses because 70 special is still pretty decent. We'll find some uses for it. For example, on the Cubone Slowpoke trainer in Rock Tunnel, he's the very first trainer, I can use Thunderbolt on the Slowpoke to one-shot it. So that way we can save some Body Slam power points. And even if we run out of Body Slam, we have plenty of uses of Stomp remaining. I do want to mention though that the self-destructing hiker with the 2 Geodudes and the Graveler with self-destruct, they are sort of difficult. If they all chain reaction self-destruct right away, they could kill me. But fortunately on the first Geodude, I take him down with just 3 stomps, the second Geodude goes down, and then the Graveler goes down to 3 uses of Stomp. So yeah, that was pretty fortunate. If you guys are wondering why I was using Stomp instead of Body Slam, it was mainly for the chance to flinch. But it didn't even really matter, they never even blew up once, so yeah, thank you for your cooperation, I appreciate it very much. And now with the self-destructing hiker defeated, we can make our way to Celadon City. In the department store, I buy myself 8 Super Repels, I get myself 2 Pokedolls because I will use one on the Marowak, and then I will use one to get the TM for Mimic. And then on the roof, I can go ahead and get the TM for Ice Beam, which we can also learn. In Tauros, I will be buying a couple of vitamins. And today's Vitamin of the Day is pretty simple. I just get 2 proteins. We don't really need speed. Extra attack couldn't hurt. And now I can get the HM for Fly, head my way to the Pokemon Tower, destroy the rival here, give the Pokédoll to the Marowak, and then rescue Mr. Fuji and get myself the Pokeflute. So now, the entire region is effectively open to us. We can either take on Erica, or Koga, or go straight to Silphco and take on Rival 5. And I choose right away to take on Rival 5 inside of Silphco. The main advantage of doing this is since while I'm here, I can actually go to the 10th floor, get this rare candy, and get the TM for Earthquake. This move is going to provide a lot of coverage in the late game. While I am also here though, I do fight some of the better Rocket Grunts and Scientists for training, because we are on the slow level up group, and we do need to do some training for the mid game. Not too much though, just the good trainers, like the ones with fully evolved Pokemon. For example, this Scientist on the 5th floor, he's got Magneton and he has a Weezing on his team, so he's pretty dang good. Then on the 3rd floor, I can take on this rocket grunt with 2 Raticates and a Hypno, and this scientist on the same floor with a Wheezing and an Electrode. So he's pretty dang good. And then I can step on this teleporter right here, heal in the heal bed, and then this rocket grunt is honestly the most scary rocket grunt in the entire building. He has a Golbat, a Hypno, and a Drowsy. It's scary because his Golbat does have Confuse Ray, and his Hypno and Drowsy do have Hypnosis. So I have had resets here in the past, but fortunately today he's pretty easy. Although he does come pretty close to giving me problems because his Golbat did use Confuse Ray, and I did hit myself several times, but fortunately I still win pretty easily. I continue fighting a bunch of trainers in Sylph, and now I can take on the rival at a good level of level 38. This is over a damage rounding threshold, plus it's a high enough level to where I can start getting some good ranges. For example, on the Pidgeot, I can 2-shot it with Ice Beam, and then on the Execute, I 2-shot it. Then on the Gyarados, I 1-shot with Thunderbolt thanks to a crit, and then I can Body Slam the Alakazam. And then last up on his Charizard, I use a Body Slam, it does half. It hits me with Slash, I paralyze it, and he is dead. Alright, so yeah, Tauros is still at 0 resets so far. That's pretty interesting because Brock is pretty difficult. But then again, I had blackouts to him, but I don't count those as resets because those are intentional blackouts. I don't count intentional blackouts as resets because it's part of Tauros' strategy. A reset in my eyes is just if I have to reset the game. Blacking out should not count as a reset in my opinion, but some people have their own rules with how they play the game. I have my own rules. And now with Silphco liberated, while I'm in the area, I decide to take on Sabrina. But first, I go in this house right here and get the TM for Mimic. Okay, why don't we go take on Sabrina now? I don't think I need to explain this, but Sabrina's pretty easy. I 1-shot her Kadabra, her Mr. Mime. Her Venomoth actually lives a hit, but all it does is get off a Leech Life. And then on the Alakazam, I use Body Slam, and it actually lives. Impressive. But then the next one kills it, so it had to have been a range. But hey, she was pretty easy. Now I have to take on either Erica or Koga next. And I choose to take on Erica. She leads off with her Victory Bell. I now have Earthquake on my learn set. Earthquake is going to deal neutral damage to her Victory Bell and Vileplume, so I go ahead and use Earthquake on the Victory Bell, which honestly wasn't the best play, because with the same type attack bonus, Body Slam will actually do more damage. But, I mean, either way, I still win, although her Vileplume does end up living in red health because of me using Earthquake. But fortunately, she didn't punish me in any way, so I still end up scratch-free. Now I can head on to Cycling Road. I do defeat one optional trainer. Scott's Thoughts calls this guy the Biker Boss because he has the most amount of Pokemon out of any biker on this route, and he has 2 Wheezing, so his training is actually extremely good. So then, with that guy defeated, I clear out the Safari Zone. Afterwards, we can go take on our 6th gym leader, Koga. Koga is a pretty dang bad gym leader in this game, and it's going to be bad today for him because I have Earthquake. I can use this move to 1-shot his Coughing, his Muck, which is impressive because that Muck likes to live hits, and then I knock out his 2nd Coughing, and then his Wheezing does end up living an Earthquake, but all he does is get off a Toxic. Honestly, even if he had used Self-Destruct, I probably would have lived anyway unless it was a crit. So yeah, not the biggest deal in the world. With Koga defeated, I can now use the HM for Surf outside of battle. So in Pallet Town, I can surf down to Cinnabar Island. But before I get to Cinnabar Island, I actually do fight this one fisherman. He's known as the Psych Fisherman, named after Ike the Killer, because this guy has 3 Sea Kings and a Goldeen. So his experience is actually extremely good. So I do fight him on my way through. Then, inside the Cinnabar Mansion, I go ahead and get the TM for Blizzard for later in the game, in addition to 2 more rare candies, and the secret key. So now why don't we go take on who is probably one of the worst gym leaders in Red and Blue, Blaine. Blaine leads off with his Growlithe at level 42. I am level 44 here, so I can one-shot his Growlithe with Earthquake and his Ponyta, but obviously that was expected. The Rapidash is a one-shot with Earthquake, and the Arcanine will probably live, which it actually doesn't because I got a crit. Yep, he is a complete one-shot sweep for me today. Why don't we go skip straight ahead to Giovanni now? He is our final gym leader for this run. Giovanni leads off with his Rhyhorn. I'm actually the same level as him because of my growth rate. I can one-shot it with Ice Beam, as well as the Doug Trio thanks to a crit. I get to level 46, then I continue Ice Beam, and the Nidoqueen does live and hit me with Body Slam, but fortunately Body Slam cannot paralyze normal types in Gen 1, so I don't have to worry about that risk. His Nidoking does end up living, and then on his Rhydon I crit it with Ice Beam. Even if I didn't crit him, his only attacking move is Stomp, because Horn Drill and Fissure will do nothing if I outspeed him, which virtually every Pokemon can outspeed him. There is a very rare scenario where the Nidoqueen can paralyze you, and then the Rhydon can hit you with Horn Drill or Fissure, but fortunately that does not happen today. While I do end up in red health, I am still able to defeat Rival 6. It does end up coming pretty close though, because as good as Tauros is in terms of stats, we are still only level 48 because of our growth rate, but we've been saving all of our rare candies up until this point. So as soon as I get into the Pokemon League, I can use my rare candies to get from level 48 all the way to 55. I do save one rare candy for the champion. So now, let's go ahead and take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. Lorelei leads off with her Dewgong. I use Thunderbolt on it to deal half. It hits me with Aurora Beam, fortunately not lowering my attack. Then on the Cloyster, it lives a Thunderbolt surprisingly. Then on the Slowbro, I have Mimic on my moveset now, which I taught over Ice Beam. That's fine, I can always teach Blizzard later. And then on the Slowbro, I can go ahead and Mimic Amnesia, set up to +6 in my special, and then I can defeat the Jinx, and then the Lapras goes down pretty easily too. Next up is the second Elite Four member, the Hiker. The reason this guy is called the Hiker is because his team is pretty dang bad. He claims to be a fighting type specialist, yet he has 2 Onyxes like a Hiker would, and he even has a Machamp. And think about it, most Hikers have a Machop on their team. And I guess he got those Hitmons from the fighting dojo at some point, but yeah, he's just a Hiker in this game. Bruno didn't even exist until Gen 2, because Bruno in Gen 2 is actually a decent trainer. This guy though, does not deserve to be called Bruno, he's the Hiker. Although he really does try to prove me wrong for besmearing his name, because he does hit submission on me which does massive damage, but fortunately it's not enough. Next up is the third Elite Four member, Agatha. The move Earthquake is one of the best ways to take down her entire team. Her Ghost-type Pokemon have bad defense compared to their special, so with Earthquake, I can actually one-shot her first Gengar. Then on her Golbat, I go for Blizzard, I miss, and she hits me with Confuse Ray. I hit myself, she uses Haze to get rid of my badge boost, but fortunately, even though she did that, Earthquake still one-shots the Haunter. I level up before the Arbok, getting my badge boost back. So now her Arbok and her Gengar are going to be one-shots with Earthquake. Next up is the Dragon-type Elite Four member, Lance. On his Gyarados, I go for Thunderbolt, which obviously gets the one shot. Then on his first Dragonair, I use Body Slam on it, and it's going to be a 2-hit on both of them. The reason I don't use Blizzard is because I only have 3 PP, and I'd rather save Blizzard for the Aerodactyl and the Dragonite. Fortunately, Blizzard takes down the Aerodactyl, and it does take down the Dragonite as well, due to it being 4 times weak to Ice. Now, with 0 resets still on our counter, we still have to take on the champion. Hopefully we can keep it this way. Let's go. He leads off with his Pidgeot. I use Blizzard on it and I get a one-shot thanks to a crit. I'm not sure if it mattered or not. Then on the Alakazam I can one-shot it with Body Slam. And then I can Blizzard the Rhydon to get rid of that thing right away. Then on the Exeggutor I go for Blizzard. It does less than half unfortunately. And then it's a good thing he doesn't use Hypnosis because the second hit is a crit. Then on the Gyarados I can defeat it with Thunderbolt, getting another crit. Then I continue using Thunderbolt, it does half on the Charizard, and he ends up getting himself stuck in Rage, and then I can defeat him, get to level 60, and the champion is defeated. With a real time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 28 seconds, with 0 resets at level 60, with a game time of 3 hours and 28 minutes. So yeah, Tauros completely destroyed Pokemon Red version. However, it was held back due to a bad Brock split, because I had to blackout train on him until I won at level 15 with Tackle. If this thing had gotten Stomp at level 1 instead, I could probably have just beaten him at level 12 or something. But we can't control how Game Freak designed this thing. So if we take a look at the leaderboard, Tauros is at 7th place overall. It did about 2 minutes worse than Chansey, but 10 seconds better than Magneton. And the reason I wanted to point out Magneton is because Magneton actually had a good Brock split because it starts with Sonic Boom, but the rest of the game for it was pretty bad due to a lack of coverage. And with Chansey, I was also doing the blackout training method on Brock, and Chansey actually got an extremely lucky Brock fight. And then everything else in the top 5 obviously did not need to blackout train on anything. But still, level 60 with 0 resets is still a nice accomplishment. So Tauros does get a nice spot on the leaderboard. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support me through YouTube memberships. All YouTube members get access to all the patch files, to all the backports we've done on stream, and access to these videos up to a couple weeks early. So if you guys want to have those benefits, become a member today. The next video I'll be doing later in the week is Pokemon Red with Kangaskhan. I think Kangaskhan has the opportunity to do better than Tauros, but we'll see. I will see you all then.